Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free. Bless all the paths our feet walk to be free.
I have the honor of introducing my brother. Been my brother for 22 years. This is when we met in this earthly plane, but I know lifetime after lifetime I've hung with this spirit. This spirit has been an alternate spirit of my own, and I know that. In a time when I was trying to fly and leave this world, the Turtle Boy reminded me to walk on the planet, that it's really groovy down here, and to hang out here for a while. So he's tall, and he's bald, and he's hairy. He may not be Italian, but he can still lead a good life. But here's also a teacher, a healer, a shaman, and a ceremonialist. That never will he own these things, but he's walked on this planet teaching and serving my brothers and sisters since I have met the man. He's taught me what dog medicine and loyalty really is. And he may snap at you out the door if he thinks you're going to hurt somebody, but he'll come and lick your tears too. This is my favorite other male in the human existence. He's my brother, and I love him, and here he is, Scott Thomas.
So it's hot. Yeah. Spread yourselves out a little bit. Normally we say snuggle, but today we're going to say let's do a little bit of spreading out and getting some air. I'm going to take a second. Modern technology, you know. Let's just do stuff. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to open with prayer just because I'm scared. Montantankan Takashala, grandmothers, grandfathers, this is your son Scott. I ask you to be with us today as I share my heart, my vision, my passion. Help me to be understood. Help me to have words. And help the shaking stop, please. I want to talk about this. Long life, honey in the heart. Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, breaching, coming of age, confirmation, debutante ball, dokmisha, first moon, turmeric, graduation, akoi, Russ, scarification, sweet 16, weddings and baptism and circumcision, confirmation, diving for the cross, Rumspringa, First Communion, Eucharist, Confession, Hajj, Vision Quest, Blood Wings, Line Crossing, Wedding Down, White Coat Ceremony, the belts of the martial arts, walkabout, and pilgrimage. Although I had spent weeks preparing and felt like we had captured the vision of Rose's parents, I was skeptical that initiation for a 7-year-old in our culture could actually be pulled off without feeling empty or silly. As we gathered in community, we stepped out of our traditional Sunday morning service and created a place of ritual and ceremony in its place. The concept was simple: to welcome a child into community and for a community to reveal and share its medicine, its essence, with a child. To give purpose to a community through the mentoring and guiding of this child, and to add more depth to a community by giving a child a voice, by giving a child a purpose, by empowering Rose to become herself. The day was beautiful. The people responded as though they had participated in similar ceremonies for generations. Mark and Stephanie cried. Rose was recognized as a member of the pod community, and we became more. More because we were willing to explore our uninitiated selves. In the giving and receiving of medicine, the creation of a bundle for Rose was what we did. Our purpose as a community was to awaken something deep within us. That part of us that we call our indigenous and ancestral self, and that village that we serve. For those of you who were there for this, and then were blessed to be a part of the ceremony that Mark did just 4 weeks ago, will notice the incredible lack of direction that was required to get everybody in their places. Cellular ancestral memory of the sacred. It's incredibly powerful. It sits inside of all of us, and all we need is a trigger to awaken it. Rites of passage and initiation are a natural response to an inner need, a calling to understand ourselves at a deeper level, and to belong to something that's bigger than ourselves. Something that helps us to have meaning and purpose in our life. Martín Prachtel, in his unique Mayan eloquence, put it this way: in their idealism, some youth want to fix everything. In a frustrated disillusionment, other teenagers want to destroy everything that has gone awry in a world that was handed to them already broken, ruined by stupid adults. In either case, the youth want to charge uphill at the enemy. Their enemy? Their enemy is the realization of getting old and having to die. It's the consciousness of human mortality that makes initiation imperative. The main reason adults seem so inept and stupid to kids is because after protecting them for their entire childhood, parents can no longer guarantee a teenager's immunity to death. If everybody has to die, why live at all? I didn't ask to be here. This is the time for initiation. Someone outside the family has to help the youth survive their despair and fright. They must walk with death and negotiate life for themselves and ultimately for their people as well. Each stage of initiation feeds two separate entities, a very personal and self-empowering aspect, the other being one of community and external connectedness. Mark's honoring of Margie 4 weeks ago, and by extension, all women. And then we watched him transform that moment, that single solitary moment of a ceremony where he connected with his sister, and he changed it, he transformed it into a ritual. Where men sat down and we're blown away. By being in the moment, by honoring spirit, by honoring people, by honoring the person, by standing or kneeling for peace and in service to each other, to those that come behind us, and for those who have gone before us. I was sharing with a sister recently who gave me the highlights to her first weekend in ritual. It started in the morning with the welcoming of a new life. That evening, the honoring of a grandmother. The next morning, the honoring of a young woman who would never have her moon. But they did ceremony for her anyway, because in the revelation of that truth, she was able to create a life. Because ceremony was done. Because people were willing to dance in ritual. Kelly Johnson, Elizabeth Hess, Kathleen Long, Pat Sellers, Jane Warner, Marty Cunningham, Archie Russo, my brother. They've all been doing this work for decades, 1 and 2 and 3 people at a time. I'm seeing hundreds of people doing this together. I'm seeing us doing it as a village on purpose, to create something on purpose, so that we can tap who we really are, so that we can bring our kids up in a place that we choose, not that someone else is choosing for us. There must be an elder-driven community for these people to be embraced by, that sees and honors who they are, that expects the change and the forward motion of a newly initiated people. We have to be ready to receive them and honor them for who they have become. Once again, to quote from Martine, most village rituals are basically fine-tuned, deliberately choreographed disasters aimed at avoiding arbitrary catastrophe and loss of soul. So, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to take the words of another brother who was touched in a moment, so that you can get that this is more than just my personal passion.
Hello, everybody. I'm just going to talk. It's a lot more personal without a microphone, I believe. A couple weeks ago, Mark did a awesome ceremony. Just blessed everybody in the room. It was very, very powerful. Very powerful. And I've only been anointed one other time in my life. I was 8 years old. I will never forget it. I felt the Holy Spirit, and it hit me, and I never forgot it. And it came back to me that day. You have some very, 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 very powerful. Really?
Microphone.
Oh, sorry, you can't hear me. Mark is a very powerful person. Not strength. Like, I'm not saying he bench presses a bus. I'm not saying that, but he's powerful. And when it's hard because I look at myself as a child here. So I'm surrounded by elders, but at the same time, Mark said something to me that really hit me that day, and he told me that I'm more of a man than I think I am, and I am. And I reflected on that for days. Like, I didn't sleep, just reflecting. It's not bad. It wasn't unhealthy. And you also told me that I am here for a reason, and that I need to make sure that I'm not necessarily leading with people that are younger than me, but it's more or less I'm that light down their path, because that's what I need to do. And it's not only younger people, it's older people, because I still have older people that ask me for advice all the time, which blows my mind, because I'm looking at myself, I'm like, gee, how many problems do I have? And I have other people that ask me for, I'm like, well, okay, I can deal with that. And just the way that you put it to me really hit me so hard that I literally reflected on it, and not only did I reflect on it, I went to my friends, my close personal friends, and I sat down, I had talks with them, I apologized to them, I told them, like, you know, look, me being whatever, like if I was picking on you, whatever it was just out of love. And I apologized. Like, I humbled myself in front of my friends because I need to be that light for them. And I need to help them. Not, you know, I don't need to shove God down their throat. I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. Just help them. Be there. Last night, perfect example. I got called at 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning. Keep in mind, I play drums for a living. So I just played Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I was trying to get some sleep because I had to be here this morning. But I didn't get any sleep. But it was okay with me because it was one of my friends that I had turned to because of you. And it was one of my friends that I apologized to, and he needed me. And I got in my car, I drove to his house at 4:30 in the morning, and I sat and I talked with him for hours until this morning. And I came right here because I got anointed from you, and I felt that feeling that I had when I was 8 years old. And it came from you. It came from you. It didn't come from anybody else. You. And that right there is nothing but power and love and emotion, and that is what the whole world needs. Because this world is so jacked, it's not even funny. Not even funny. I hear people talking about Miley Cyrus, and I'm the only one thinking about Syria. I'm the only one thinking about all these, you know, this another BP explosion, like all this other, like, it's crazy. But you gave me a moment of clarity. Out of all this craziness, you gave me that one moment of clarity that I have not had in years. Thank you.
The actual ritual and ceremony performed are irrelevant. It's what happens inside. It's all that really matters. That it's steeped in authenticity, that it reflects our complex modern culture is a must. Ritual and ceremony must be created so that there is an authenticity, a validity, an air of mystery and magic. By simultaneously reaching back into our ancestral knowledge and owning our own butt-kicking inner bigness, we have an opportunity to create authentic initiation and rites of passage ceremonies for ourselves, for our community, for years and years and years to come. When we are all not here anymore, they can still be dancing this dance. With an understanding of how and why, the only question remaining is who. Who will receive us when we are not yet initiated ourselves? Who will receive our youth when we are not yet initiated ourselves? How do we become initiated when our elders and our mentors are not yet initiated themselves? Again, from our team, it is not the heroic warrior who's the culprit here. It is the lack of graduates in the study of adulthood that is to blame. Most of what has been presented up to now as initiation in our modern society, school ceremonies, corporate inductions, military presentations, training, fraternity hazing, boot camps, secret rituals of clubs and societies, fragmented New Age adaptations of native institutions, corporate raiders, monopolies, computer hackers, million-dollar bonuses to CEOs with no heart and no conscience are not what I call initiation. Bullies and bullying victims in mass shootings, drive-by shootings, kids killing kids, people so lost that killing random people seems like a choice at all. Pick a culture, pick a region, pick a religion. These are the repercussions of what happens when you don't have true initiations or any remembering adults. We see initiation falling into 7 rites of passage, falling into 7 places. Birth, 7, 14, 21, 35, 55, death. When we leave birth and death to mother-in-laws and pastors and midwives and shamans. The rest is up to us. The rest is up to the village. This is our job to do. To give answers to, why am I here? Who am I? What part of this do I belong to? Why am I here in this group of people? How are we going to become? These are the questions that must be asked as we walk through the stages of our life. When we become a person at 7 years old, when we become a warrior at 14, when we become an adult at 21, when we become an aunt or an uncle, a teacher when we're 35, when we become grandmother, grandfather at 55. We teach and pray and lead. These are the questions that must be asked so that when it's time for us to teach, when it's time for us to be who we are in our community, we step forward into it because we've owned it already, because we are who we are, because we were brought into this place that we are by our family. The dream is to create a 2-day weekend that encompasses a lifetime of initiation for all those gathered, facilitators included, and to create a foundation for a community that is passionately committed to future generations through authentic representation of ourselves, created for us, by us, facilitated by us, for use by us, over and over and over again, directed by the elders who now initiated themselves, can guide and direct us in our quest to become individually and to become as a community, through a remembering of our ancestral knowledge and an honest view of who we have become in our modern day chaos. Rites of passage for a 7-year-old. There was a moment in the middle of Rose's ceremony where I wasn't Uncle Scott anymore. I was given one of those way up high views. Up there where you get to see what's really going on. In those moments, as the observer, we have an opportunity to witness the power and magic of the moment. There's a moment when ordinary people create an extraordinary atmosphere, and in that moment is magic. The magic I witnessed that day was a group of uninitiated people following their hearts to bring one of their own into the embrace of the village. The incredible sense of vulnerability and empowerment that occurred for everyone in the room was truly inspiring. The true unfoldment of universal indigenosity, genuine ancestral memory, and a trust of the inner bigness of everyone who appeared in the room, seen and unseen. Finally, again from the same essay by Martine, it's called The Tadpole's Tale. If initiation is about culture, and the modern world desires initiation. It will have to redefine itself. A new culture would have to develop where humans and their inventions are not at the center of the universe. Where God, too, is not at the center. What would be at the center is a hollow place, an empty place, where both God and we humans could sing and weep together as a team, pushing magical words into that sacred hole. Maybe together, the diverse and combined excellence of all cultures, we could court the tree of life back out of its frightened and fugitive existence, back in the previous layers where it was banished into the invisible by our scarred literalist, dogmatic religiosities and forgetfulness. We can put enough love in to bring it back to life, to put it in the center of what we create as our community for ourselves. 13 thank yous, long life, honey in the heart. I want to talk about this.
Bless all